The broadcast is live.
We are now live, not dead, as some people might believe that we are, even though we might feel that way because it's Friday. But it is where I am, 1600 hours, and where Emily is, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. And
That's right.
there you go. There you go.
What would you say? That's 1,000 hours? I don't even know. Like I said, I should know. My kid's in the military. I don't know.
That's 10 hours. And first of all, let's have this whilst we recover from the fact that we now know it's Friday.
I need to get going, Mel. See you later.
It looks to be that you're sound. Can you hear me now?
I hear you now. There you go. That yes. Was
there we go.
That was a little advert by the sponsors of this, Nexstand. So that all you musicians out there, if you're working with laptops, doing gig stuff where you use a laptop, get yourself a Nexstand. What a wonderful thing. You can raise it up like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm actually yeah. What I'm using is a bit of old fashioned. So yes, definitely get one of those.
Yeah. What do you use when you do a gig? Just a guitar and your head?
Yeah. Sometimes I'll bring a folded, little old music stand, the kind you had in band class, just because it's what fits in my car. And if somebody has a request, like I can kind of almost sing anything. If I've heard it like at least 2-3 times, I can kind of sing it. I can pretty much sing it. So I'll pull it up on my iPhone or my iPad if it's with me, and I'll sing whatever that request is. I got the request to sing a Train song a couple of days ago. I got a request to sing an Adele song that I used to sing quite a bit, and I stopped doing it.
Yeah. Which song's that by Adele then? Which song was that?
One and Only.
Right.
It was an older. My husband always liked that one. He was like, "Oh, that's a great song." Which, coming from him, was like, "Oh, you like that one, okay?" And I remember I learned it.
Yeah.
Because he had liked that song, and then I just stopped playing it. But I had a lady, and she said she had $20. She goes, "Can you play it?" And I was like, "Yes, I can."
There you go.
And I did. Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. What I'll do just for Nexstand, just for this one time, is show people this as well. Look at that. Now, this is for gigging musicians like Emily, who use their phone or a tablet. You see, this is a little phone or tablet stand. Look at that.
Oh, hey, that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah. So your phone goes in there, or your tablet goes in there, and then obviously you can angle it, get the angle of the dangle right. So that you can sit there with your phone, because it's really hard to hold your phone and play guitar at the same time.
Yeah, it's not easy at all. So
there you go.
Yeah.
You must have great eyesight though, if you can read off your phone. I find that the chord changes are quite tricky if you have to have the chords on the phone, because unless you pay the extra for that particular app where it does the scroll thing. But if it goes at the wrong
speed, I do actually pay the extra for that.
Oh right, so it scrolls.
Yeah,
but
because otherwise you're trying to play and flick your hand up and play.
Yeah, you're trying to. You're like, it's like. I can remember doing a gig once. It's like, let's take time chasing cars. I'll be with you. Round our head.
Somebody stand over here and do this. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah, makes it more fun, especially if it then scrolls onto a different song in the middle of that song, and then you get like this mashup, especially when those two songs don't go together. That gets really fun. And if you throw into the mix being dyslexic as well, it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah. I have ADD of ADHD. It's what they told me when I went and I talked to my kids' school. They were like, "Oh, you have ADHD without the hyperactivity." And I went, "That's what ADD is." I mean, that's just we just left out the letter. They're like, "But we don't say it that way anymore." And I was like, "Okay, but whatever." And then I was
Yeah.
like, "But I seriously believe I probably have a touch of dyslexia." My youngest son is extremely dyslexic. He has what is called um, developmental dyslexia because he'll
Mm.
forget. Like he's it's a real struggle, but we're working with
It'll
it.
affect his
And
cognitive processing.
yeah, it is cognitive processing. It is like
Yeah.
having to remember that th makes, is hard for him. But he's got all kinds of other different things that he's really really great at, just reading, which means I have to read all the time to him. So I do all the funny voices. There's this series called
Mm.
Bad Guys, and he loves it, and so I make them all like from New York or Boston or something. He thinks that's the best thing ever. Makes
That
him
is
want to
good.
read.
Now, I'm going to bring in a prop here from behind the scenes. Woo! Know what that is?
It's a lot.
It's a what? It's a giant polo.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a light.
It's a light.
My
A light.
text just came. Yeah.
It's a spotlight.
Aha! But bum. Yeah.
That's a
My song.
That's
Spotlight.
a
That is
spotlight
dyslexic.
right there. Okay, so you've got lots
That's how you do it.
Don't even know how that happened. Don't even know how that happened. Right.
Don't even know how that happened.
I really don't know how that happened. There was almost like there was a ghost in the room. That pressed the button when
It's
I
funny
didn't
that you
know.
say that because I was recording last night. There's a little thing that we were going to try to redo, and I went to record, and I recorded in my room because I've got, you've seen my room before. It's quite
Yeah.
messy right now because of the kids and that. But I've got all this stuff around my room, and so it sounds great when you record in here. And so we went to re-record a vocal that's for the album that's coming out, and I am not kidding you. When I went to step to the mic, the boom went bam right on my desk and broke it. And we were like, all right, well, we're not recording that tonight. It was almost like you're not doing it. And I was like, okay, that must be a really good recording then. Because
Yeah.
it was spooky. A few things have happened.
Yeah. So
like if you watch back, you may see orbs flying through here. I saw one the other day. I was like, Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you've got lots of great news, which is great. Which is great. So since I last saw you, you've been busy. I mean, for a start, you've been once the doors opened, you bolted out like a horse possessed, and you played everywhere, literally everywhere.
Yes.
I could not turn on Twitter without seeing Emily's face belting a song here, there, and everywhere.
Face.
It's a nice face. I didn't say it wasn't. It's a lovely face.
Oh,
and in fact,
I know.
I commented on that several times. But you were everywhere, weren't you? And you were singing everywhere.
I was everywhere. I still am everywhere. Like tonight, I'm going to drive over an hour to go play a gig. The lady's been trying to get me in for the last 2 months. And I finally was like, okay, I'm open here. And then tomorrow I'm going to drive 40 minutes into Galveston. And I just really enjoy playing. And now that I have my album, I've been weaving my songs into my old set list. And it's great because people are like, oh, I like that. What is that? Actually, it's me, which is really a lot of fun. Because I won't say it before. The only one I'll say before is Spotlight, which just released on Monday. But I'm really enjoying that people are turning around and they're listening to it. The songs that they don't know, which are mine. So that's a lot of fun. Yes, I played everywhere. I played in the UK, which, by the way, I left a little bit of my heart in the UK. I love England so much. Like, I saw quite a bit of it, too. I was all the way up. I was like maybe an hour outside of Scotland at one point. Came all the way down. I went to Bexhill. I went to Swindon. I loved it.
Oh my goodness! Can you say Swindon again for me?
Huh?
Can you just say Swindon again for me?
Swindon?
Because the Swindon.
Am I saying it wrong? I could be. I am quite
Well, no,
southern
well,
in my
we
accent.
we say it's Swindon. Swindon.
Schwinden.
Swindon. So you've got a bit of a
Schwinden. Do
you've
I
got a
need to
bit
say
of
it
a
like that? A Schwinden? Almost
yeah.
like with a Sean Connery accent. I was in Schwinden. Like that.
Swindon. Yeah, no, it's great. That's great. So yeah, you were everywhere in the UK. I'm sorry you didn't make it down as far as the southwest, because otherwise we would have met up.
Oh no, but I'm planning you know, with my producer George Klein and some other people. I'm planning to come and, you know, COVID allowing, in this upcoming summer. So I absolutely will make it there, because I have to go to Devon. I've already been told, you know, you have to make it to Devon. I was like, yes, I'll make it. I'll make it all the way down. You know, I will. I love traveling by train. I figured out, man, I just get acoustic guitar and some, you know, plugins, and I'm there. It's great, you know.
That's
So
great.
I really, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the UK so very much. And I love traveling by train. I've sat with a few different people on different trains, and they just laughed at me because I was just like, "This is amazing." They're like, "You don't have trains in Texas?" I was like, "No,
Where do
we
you
drive for it."
when you're doing all this traveling about? Where do you stay?
Well, I stayed at the Claremont. I got a, you know, I stayed at the Claremont, and right next to Victoria Station, and then I went up to the Indigo. I believe that was in Newcastle, and those were the two places that I stayed. But I traveled around with people that I'd known through Twitter and other bands like Specky Cult. When I got up to Newcastle, I went all around.
So did you
I
couch
was
surf a
supposed,
little bit? Did you
huh?
couch surf a little bit? Did you couch surf?
Counselor?
Yeah, couch surf, where you sleep on people's couches.
No, I didn't.
No.
I set aside my money. Yeah, no, I really, like, we drive for like a day and go see something, and then they take me back to Newcastle. Or when I was by myself, like when I said I went to Schwinden, I stayed into the evening, and then I knew when the last train was going, and I got back on the train when I went down to Bexhill. I stayed for hours and really enjoyed it. Didn't get too far because I'm walking. Didn't get too far from the train station, and then got back on the train. I had lovely people while I was on the train, and it was such a fun time. There was actually this lady named Sue that I met on the train, and it was interesting because there wasn't hardly anybody there but the two of us, and she had a cane, and she was carrying bags, and I know it was COVID. You know, everyone's trying to stay away from each other, but we struck up a nice little friendship, and I had to jump over, I think, two seats to hold the door, to catch the door, because it almost closed on her when she was trying to get out. Because
Oh,
nobody, you know, people were kind of scared. And then another guy, he was on the platform, and he grabbed her. And I thought, I was so glad I decided to leave at that moment, at that time, you know, to be there to do that. It was such a strange, weird thing, you know, because if it had been anybody else, you may have missed her stop. So I just really, I loved it. I loved every moment of being there.
good. Well, we'll see you when you get back. That would be good. So, when did you write the single?
My single came out on Monday.
Yeah, no. When did you write it?
When did I write it?
Mm.
I wrote Spotlight about March, I believe it was. I was sitting in this room. I was actually sitting right here. See this, all my inspiration right here. And there are a few women in my life who are the husbands of band members that I have played with since my husband passed away. And Celeste Velasquez, Caroline Perez, and Dinah Burns. They just they're there. They're always there in that kind of sense of my life, because I play music like uh, um, Caroline. Her husband is the drummer for Red Iris.
Mm.
I got into being in the band Red Iris because I used to go and play with a band called Rock Radio. I would jump in with their sets, and they would get me up there and have me sing. And so all three of those women, their three husbands, were in that band at one time. And I just, when my husband died, instead of being, "Oh, you poor little widow," they were just like, "It's just Emily," you know. And they were gracious and kind. And I went to barbecues, and I did. It was just a thing that I think people miss so much in the world because they're worried that, somebody doesn't want to talk about the death of their husband, or they don't know how to approach it. And if you just, if you just do, it's great. So I wrote the song about them. There's a line in it actually where I say, "Stand up and sing, girl." And actually that is my ex-boss, Gene, who's a husband to Celeste. Um, uh, we had this moment before I went to go get on stage at a jam session, and and I hadn't really done it all that much, gotten up there and sang. And there was a whole bunch of people up there, and they were trying to sing over each other. And I remember he stopped me and he says, "You see that?" He goes, "Go, don't do that. Just get up there and sing, girl. Just get up and sing. Because you're the only you. And there's always going to be someone better than you. So just be you, you know?" In the sense they were trying to just be the star on the stage. And I never forgot it. So when I went to write this song about people standing in the spotlight, because as women, in a lot of ways, we do stand in the spotlight, but we don't tell you how hard it is. Like with COVID, there are so many people who went through COVID, and then sometimes one of the partners had to go to work, and then the other had to stay home and teach the kids. And I tell you right now, I'm not a teacher. It is hard to teach when you don't have that gift.
Yeah,
So
last time we spoke, we both were in that position. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
commend all these women who do that, stand up and sing, because here comes the world. So if the world's coming at you and you're quiet and you're not saying who you are, you, we're never going to see you, because if you do say something, we will hear you. So those are the things that I'm saying in the song.
Yes.
I One of the bridge is, "Through the worry and strife, you carry the light and hide all the fear for the ones that you love. You dance inside the fire when life comes along, but only you write your song." I think if we speak up more about how we feel and who we are, it will be accepted. That's the spotlight.
Oh man, those are powerful words. Powerful words, Emily. Beautiful.
Well,
we're
I think
all...
when you go through something and you have a story to tell, it is part of our life and our growth to tell our story, and it helps other people. I just know a lot of people who've lost, and it never goes away. That loss never goes away. You just learn how to live with it, and you grow and you teach other people, and that's the idea of my album, Finding Irene.
Yeah. Was it difficult in some ways to be so personal on this album?
Actually, there's a song that's on the album. It's called "The Pedal," and it was the memory of seeing my husband's last. We had to take him down the hallway after he passed away.
Yeah.
And there is a thing that a lot of people don't know, and I think everybody should know this, but like in TV series, they put the drape over them and they cover them, um, and then they take them out of the house. Well, actually, they don't do that. There's some kind of law that keeps that from happening, and they can't cover the face of the deceased person, at least here in Texas, until you leave the house. So we had this moment where my oldest stepson and other members of my brother and other members of my family were standing in the hallways in front of the doors where my children slept, just in case there was too much sound, because that would have been something would haunted them forever to see that. And I was begging them, "Can you please cover it?" And they said no. And then finally, when they walked out, I kissed him goodbye. It was a strange feeling, because it's just death. It is not, there's no warmth, there's no anything, and then they pushed him out and they closed the door. And that's when I broke down, because that was when I had the moment I could break down. But I remember them closing the door, and I remember them closing the door on the casket. And I remember what it feels like to walk through a funeral home and pick out a casket for my 42-year-old husband with my mother-in-law, and it was her only child. So I could not feel. And I'm not mad. I just knew that I couldn't, because this was her only child, and he died in her arms. So those are all the feelings that I had when I'm writing this song, Pedal. and what it was like to experience it, because I'm not the only one who's ever experienced it, you know? And I am gracious and grateful for the love that I did have with my husband, because I could have not had that. I could have never met him. He still would have passed away, and that I would never have these beautiful children. So I'm trying to be grateful also in the album, but to tell the story in the sense of like, this is what it's like. And I didn't feel it for a long time, because the first year you're very numb. The
Mm.
second year you get almost angry. You know, it, and then I really didn't mourn the way I probably should have until the fifth year, because it was 5 years, you know? So it's a lot better. Like, being that it's 7.5 years now, I feel better, and then I can share my story, and then I can say it in a way that, with understanding and a little bit of wisdom, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the album, how long did it take you from start to finish?
It took this. I wrote one song which is called "In Time" uh, last year around this time, and the rest of the songs I wrote from February. No, January 2021. I wrote from this January until. Oh, I'm sorry. I've got one of those wrong. I wrote a song about my grandfather years ago that I added to this because I thought was so beautiful. But besides that, at least 10 songs of this 12 song album, I wrote from January till July. I was just so inspired, you know?
So
It was a,
it just came
yeah, it
all at,
really did. I can remember one week I wrote like 3 songs. I wrote a song called I Lost Her in remembrance, because I wrote it in April, because it was in, you know, I wrote it in the way that I'm talking about a mother, but I know that I'm talking about my friend who was 32 when she passed away. And I try to write it in a way that would be so other people would get it. They would feel like, yeah, that's like my mom, or that's like my sister, or that's like, but she died when she was 32 with complications of pneumonia, most likely had a lot to do with her stage 1 diabetes. And she was just a wonderful person. And we only knew each other because when we were kids, when we were 15, 14 and 17 into 15 and 18, we met at 14 and 17. And, but we met in person at 15 and 18 because we were both Elton John fans. We were really young Elton John fans. And there was this magazine called East End Lights, and we wrote in, and the magazine put us together. I have all the letters and everything, and she was wonderful and kind, and I learned so much from her. I know Yiddish because, you know, I would go and have Thanksgiving with them, and I loved it, and I would bring them their Hanukkah presents that they could open up later. They thought it was great. I can remember the first time I brought everybody 8 presents. They're like, it doesn't work this way, but we love it. You know, I just loved it, and that memory that I have of her, I can't wait till it comes out, because I'm going to send it to her mother and her sister. But it was such a, I didn't get to feel and to mourn her the way I wanted to, because it
mm,
was, you know, only a few years after Christian died that I just didn't feel it. You know, I wished I did, but you put on this weird thing about yourself where you just don't cry and you don't feel, and you just kind of, you know, because you feel as though you can't, because then you're letting somebody down, which you're not. But that's just literally how you feel about it. Like, I couldn't go in and sit in a corner and cry when I have little children in the house. I mean, they're now 9 and are almost 9 and 12, but at the time they weren't. And even for my oldest child, who's now almost 20, I needed to be strong for him, because he was one of the people who helped me take care of my dying husband. He loved his stepfather just immensely. To this day, has so much love for him, you know, and talks about him all the time. And but I couldn't break down, because they they needed a parent to be there, to be like, okay, we still have somebody, you know. And I could
mm.
be wrong about this, but that's just the way that I handled it. But I never stopped talking about him. I always talked about him, so it made it very real for them as well, you know, that this is what your dad would have done. I actually even tease my children, my hair's crazy, tease my children mercilessly. They're like, Mom, I was like, your dad totally would have said blah blah blah.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I can my head. Don't even start with me right now. And then I love it when it's in front of one of my stepsons, who I'm extremely close to both of my stepsons. They're like, yeah, Dad would have said that. Like that. I was gonna say it before she said it. You know, and I love that too. I love that they have these great big brothers who are all around their dad. So they know that their dad was a wonderful, loving man because of them. And those are all the things that are coming through my songs. There's a song that I wrote called Blue. And the last line that I have, because he had the most beautiful blue eyes, is when we look out into the ocean and the sky, we see blue. It's true.
Oh, it is
So
true.
whenever they see blue, it's their dad. A lot of times if a butterfly comes by, we'd say, oh, that's your dad, you know, just to remember him.
Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. That's a beautiful image. I'm really looking forward, from listening to you talking about it. I'm really looking forward to emotionally getting involved with this album at some point. You must
Oh,
send it to me so I can listen to it.
I will absolutely send it to you.
Now, you mentioned there Mr. Elton John, and we talked about Reginald Dwight last time. There he is. There he is. Bless him. And you're about to share something else with Mr. Elton John as well, are you not? Because you said to me earlier, not only have you worked on a single and an album, but you also have a Christmas song.
I do. I have a Christmas song, and I got my Christmas song in such a cool way. So I think you know this about me. My two favorite people forever, and since I was a kid, have been Elton John and Eddie Izzard. And last year, I came home from Thanksgiving, and I wrote a song. And one of the reasons I did is because I had been approached by a lady named Mary Wood of Brecken Indie Reviews, and she was like, I want you to do a cover of a Christmas song, and I want you to put it up, tag us, tag whatever charity you want, and then we're gonna put it up on Twitter. Now I'm like, Christmas songs, people know, and when you redo their Christmas songs, you pay them money. You just do, because Christmas is very lucrative. So I thought, oh, I don't think I need to do that. So I pondered on it for a couple of days. And Thanksgiving, my kids stayed with my mother-in-law and my mom. They even split up. One went with the granny and the other one went with the honey, because they went, can we stay? Oh yeah, the kids can stay with us. I was like, here you go. So I was like, yay, I get a Thanksgiving evening by myself, can watch all kind of Christmas stuff. So I came home and I heard the line in my head, snow must be falling somewhere. I heard that line and I thought, yeah, the snow must be falling, not in Texas, but somewhere it's falling, right?
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
get
yeah.
home and I pick up my car and I sit right here and I look to my left and I see this great picture of Eddie, and I know that there's the Make Humanity Great Again is such a cool thing to me, and I like the fact that um, Eddie does a comedy in like 4 different languages. So I thought to myself, well, I can at least sing Merry Christmas in other languages. And then it'll be a more inclusive song. All of it be more inclusive. So that was the point. And I started to do it, and I was looking up German and French. I got Italian. Everybody knows Feliz Navidad. So I knew that I had to go in the end, because if you didn't know what I was saying before, by the time you got to the end, when I said Feliz Navidad for me and you would know that I was trying to say things in other languages. That was the point. Somebody was like, why didn't you put Feliz Navidad in the beginning? I was like, because then you wouldn't hear the other languages. That was just my thought. And so I did. I wrote this song. Was so happy with it. I put it on YouTube. I used it right around Christmas last year, just as the acoustic version that I got in with the Specky Colt through Zoom. We kind of put it all together and it sounded really good, but I was like, I really, really like this. I really like this. I like that it's all very inclusive, because I think Christmas can be very inclusive. I mean, we all have holly. We all have trees. Whatever you believe, you walk down a town square, there is somebody ringing a bell and asking for money for the Salvation Army. So it is so worldly. So I had a friend of mine in Galveston, and I don't ever say his last name right. It's Keith Newman. I can't. Anyways, Keith knows who I'm talking about. And he lives
Hi,
in
Keith.
Galveston, and he recorded. I love it. I just there are times where I just can't say certain names and words. He he recorded the dry vocal and guitar for me, and I sent that off to Jorg, and we got this amazing sound. I will send it to you so you can hear it, because I know that that one's done. I will let you hear that one. I've been playing it. They've been playing it on South Devon Radio. It's really cool. It's so much fun. And it sounds like Christmas, and it makes me so happy.
Yay.
But the reason I was doing it is because I wanted to make my own, because I didn't want to have to pay anybody else. I may want to one day use it for charity, so that everything that I would get, I would give it to what, I mean, I wanted to be able to control my own Christmas song, and to express what I think about it and how I feel about it. So I got that chance, and I love it.
And you know
It
what
will go on
else?
the album as a bonus track.
And you know what else you can do with that now, Emily?
What?
You can build your own Christmas album, and you can
Yeah,
put it right next to Elton John.
Yeah, or you know what? Everybody loves "Step Into Christmas" with Elton John, but I actually love "A Ho Ho Ho," who'd be a turkey on Christmas.
Well, I was gonna ask you,
Sitting
because
here on Christmas Eve with a brandy in my hand.
yeah,
That's
I was
great.
gonna ask you, do you actually have a favorite Christmas song?
Yeah, that's I do actually, and it's an emotional song. And people will kind of like, I don't know. Hang on, I'm sorry, it's my dog.
Love dogs.
Yeah, hang on. This
Come on,
is
dog.
she's
Come
see,
on. That's it.
is.
Hello, darling.
So she loves getting attention. Yeah, I do, but it just most recently in the last 2-3 years became a favorite of mine. My kids really like the song, but I like Sarah McGinnis's "No More Sad Songs," and it's Christmas every day. And the reason I like that one as much as I do is because when my oldest son went off to the Navy last year, it would come on, and my kids they would get welled up, and they would say how much they miss their big brother, because that is like the father figure in their life. And so then they would beg me to call him. I was like, well, he's not there. They're like, no, but we can sing it on. They would sing the chorus to that song on voicemail to my oldest son, and it was such a cool thing. And then I would have to, and then every now and then we would hear from him, and because they miss him so much, and he calls probably at least once a month now. Because they miss him so much, we have to keep that. It's on my playlist all year round, because they want, sometime during the week they want to hear that song. So maybe one day there'll be a different song that I just really love for Christmas, but I do really love that one because what it means to my children.
Yeah.
I think it's the lyrics hit my 8-year-old. He was 7, and it hit him to where he was paying attention. He goes, that's Aubrey. That's the Aubrey song. That's the Aubrey song. And so, yeah, I really do like that one.
Well, I don't think Christmas songs, any song really, but I don't think Christmas songs really mean something to you until you've got some kind of emotional attachment to it.
Yeah, and that my children have a huge emotional attachment to that song. And if you haven't heard it, you should go out and listen to it. It's really beautiful, and my kids just absolutely love it. I mean, during Christmas, I will have to listen to it a lot.
Yeah.
They just hit the repeat. And the rule in my car is nobody touches mommy's any stuff, but my little one will do. And since I'm like, oh, stop touching my screen, I'll hit it for you, because they're covered in chocolate and everything. Normally,
I mean, it may be corny, but still one of my favorite Christmas songs is Chris Rea, "Driving Home for Christmas." The reason being is because for years my job meant I was on the road, and it's just that point where you finished for Christmas that last day, but you've still got 200 miles to do in the car. and you just put that song on, and you just think, yeah, that's it. I'm driving home for Christmas. I really
Driving
am.
home
This
for
is it.
Yeah.
This is it. You know,
That's
but
great.
that's what I
love
mean. It has to have that kind of, you know, you have to be in that position to actually understand what that song really means. You know,
Yeah,
and
and for me, my story with my boys, that's why we love that song so much, because they don't remember their dad as much as they'd like to. So Christmas, but not having that first Christmas last year without Aubrey, not having him there was just, it was hard for them. So I was so grateful that they had that. And then they would laugh and they sing it. They were singing it in it, no joke. They were singing it in the car the other day, just out of the blue. I was like, I think I should film this. But it's just, and so I hope that maybe my Christmas song reaches somebody in that kind of way. You know,
absolutely,
I like the
absolutely.
idea that when I send it to you, I think you'll really dig it. I try to
I
take
think I really will.
everybody would, you know.
I also expect that you do quite a mean version, and by mean I don't mean mean. I mean amazing version of River by Joni Mitchell as well. I expect you do.
Oh, that song, you listen to that song, you're like, you just start scratching and like, I can't right now. Like, oh, they're like, you fine? I was like, just mommy's listening, because it's
Yeah,
so beautiful. Oh, and emotional, and it's not necessarily a Christmas song, but it is a Christmas song. It's just amazing. Oh, I love that one. The other
I'd
one I
say
really
for
like.
me it's a Christmas time song. It's a winter song. It's a passing of Christmas song. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean by that?
I do know what you mean. Yeah, I do know what
Yeah.
you mean. I do know what you mean. And
It's that
geez,
reflective time of year, isn't it? As we pass from one year into another year and we start to think about what's been and what's gone and what's coming next. And that's
yeah.
what that song's about, you
Come
know? And
on, Christmas.
yeah.
Yeah,
And the fact
yeah,
that, you know, just the whole idea of a river, that it's moving. You can't stop a river, really. You can, but you can build a dam. But actually, you know, a
I,
river just moves
another
through.
really beautiful Christmas song that was a favorite of mine was "Spotlight on Christmas." Um, I believe it's Rufus Wainwright. Oh, see,
Yeah.
Spotlight on Christmas is really great. Elton John had this really cool Christmas album that came out years and years and years ago, and the only place you could get it was Starbucks, and I had it until my children ended up breaking it. That's what happens when you have children. They end up breaking the stuff. But we listened to it so much. It had that one. It had Merry Christmas Baby. It had the band has a really great um, It Must Be Christmas. Is from the band that they're on
Mm.
there. They're really cool Beach Boys songs on there. So I like those different ones that not everybody listens to. Here in Texas, you can listen to a particular radio station, and they start playing it like from the week before Thanksgiving until like January something, where people were like, "Stop playing it." So I love Christmas
Yeah.
though. I love putting up the tree. Last year, again, we had, because of Aubrey, the boys thought that he would get to come home for leave, and he didn't get to for a really long time. They went 9 months without seeing him. So, but it was so funny because we kept the tree up, and I'm not kidding, and way into almost April, because they just had this
Oh,
hope that eventually he would come home and the tree would be there, and they would see that they decorated it again. That's why they love the No More Sad Songs Christmas song, because they just that it's that feeling. Um, and he Yeah, I told him, I was like, this year it's going down in January. It's going down in January. I love having it up this year, because we would have people come over. They're like, your tree's still up. I was like, yeah, I know the tree is
oh,
still up, but I did it for them.
yeah.
And then I had them help take it down, and by that time they were able to call and talk to their brother. So he was like, you got to take the tree down, man. Mom sent a visit.
Emily, it's been
So,
an absolute pleasure talking to you again today, as it always is.
oh, I had
Um,
such a great time. Such an amazing time, Graham, as always.
thank you, and it's been a pleasure sharing the story, the very personal story of this album with you today, and I hope people get as much out of it when they listen to it as you've clearly put into it. So just so that people know, the single is out. Yes,
Yes,
the single's out, and then
you
the
can find
album.
it all places that it streams.
Yeah, so Spotlight, the single, and then when are you releasing the album?
December. The album is still up in the air, the exact day, but my Christmas single is December 8th.
December
Which is
8th,
my kid's
and then
birthday.
the album
Yeah.
sometime soon. The album
It's in
sometime soon.
December. It should be a week or so after that. It's supposed to be before Christmas because I'll be like, yes, I did it. As I said all
Yes.
year, I'm going to release a solo album. People are like, yeah. Just like I said, I was going to go to England for a year. I was like, I'm going to go to England. They're like, you're not going to England. It's not going to happen. I was like, well, now I'm really going to go. I was going to go before. Now I'm really going to go. And so, yeah, I just, and I went. I did.
So if people want to make Emily's Christmas this year, right? When that album drops, make sure that you get the Christmas single, and then when the
Yes.
album drops, make sure you get the album, and just make Emily's year. All right, and then that will just be a perfect end to the year, and that would be a lovely thing.
Yes.
I would stay and talk to you all day, but I've got to take my youngest, not my youngest. I've got to take my nearly youngest to gymnastics now, and you'll know what that's like as a parent. Yeah,
I do, because I have soccer really early in the morning. Like football, soccer.
Yeah, it's
really
just
early in the morning.
It's just one of those things. But she's doing ever so well. She can do things that I can't possibly do anymore, which is why you go to gymnastics, isn't it? But it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you again. Do come back and talk to us again another time. But thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me, Graham.
Okay, and I look forward to speaking to you again. Bye for now, Emily. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.